Welcome back to Adulting and Money. In this episode, we're going to go over the things that you will be saving for that are not necessarily direct bills. Some of these will be in your savings account, some of these will be in your checking account, and we're going to kind of just briefly touch on all of those. We're going to cover in a later video how to calculate the exact amounts you should be saving every month. So to recap what we've gone over so far, we've gone over James and Mary's income. We've calculated the percentage they had so they can be a helpmate to each other and have an equitable relationship with their money. This will help them get along better. And then we went over their bills that they have together, and we have those split out in an equitable manner that calculates based off their income. So there's a fair percentage for each. And now we're going to go into the next part of it. So as you can see right here on the spreadsheet behind me, I've added the columns that go over the amount of each envelope and the percent that's adjusted for each person. You don't have to call it envelopes. You can call these whatever you want. Now these are the envelopes that I have in savings that for James and Mary, and we're just going to briefly go over those real quickly. Your emergency fund is the, oh my goodness, something broke and I need to fix it now. I have to buy plane tickets and fly home for a funeral, that type of thing. It's just something bad has happened that I need to dip into that. I lost my job and I'm going to get another job, but I'm in the short term, I'm having a problem. This is not for long-term continuity, 6 months without a job. That's the next envelope, which is your continuity fund. Emergency fund is the car broke the transmission and I have to get to work. Your continuity fund is I lost my job. The next one is special purpose, and I use that one as a catch-all for everything that's not a recurring something that you're going to save for. You're always going to want to have an emergency fund. You're always going to want to have a continuity fund, but you may not always have a special purpose fund. I use this for, say, your child is getting married and you want to give them money. Your son is going to start driving and you want to buy him a car. If you can afford it, you know the amount, you know when it's going to be, and you can save for it. One thing I want to clarify, the holidays savings envelope is for something that doesn't happen every month. For example, birthdays and anniversaries happen every month. That's not something that goes in your savings account because you'd have to make too many withdrawals. There's a separate envelope that we will put in your checking that will make sense, that will cover all those things. But holidays, in this example, for savings, this is once a year events. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, things like that. You want to have enough for a Valentine's Day dinner, put that amount in here and save for it all year. It makes it really, really easy. Christmas gifts are the same way. They only happen once a year, and you know how much you want to spend on everybody, put it in here, and that way you'll have the money when it comes time for Christmas. Thanksgiving meal, Christmas dinner, all those things, you can lump these in here as well. If there's any other special events, if you have a Mardi Gras ball you go to or a work Christmas party that has expensive tickets, anything like that that's a once a year holiday goes in this envelope. The next one is vacation. This is anything you want it to be that counts as vacation. This could be a trip to visit relatives. This could be a trip to Disney World. It could be anything. If it's something that you want to do on a regular basis, that you want to travel here and there, then you want to put it in here. Car repair. This is a easy one for me in general, unless you're driving some crazy expensive car that has outrageous repair bills. Generally $50 a month is plenty for any sort of car repair you're going to have. And even if you haven't gotten to the emergency measure, it's nice to have that to offset the costs. For example, if your air conditioner breaks and it's $1,000 to get it fixed, if you've been saving $50 for several months, then that will help offset how much you're sucking out of the emergency fund. And now you can see that I've put some amounts into the columns for James and Mary. These are just amounts that I've kind of pre-calculated, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit. What you want to do is find the number that works for you. If you can't meet these amounts, that's fine. As long as you're putting something aside, that gets you closer to your goal. If you can put more into it, then I encourage you to do that. And again, we're going to go over how to calculate all these, and this will make sense the longer you watch these videos. And now you can see I have the numbers that are adjusted plugged in for James and Mary in their respective columns. And you'll notice that the amounts don't quite add up to the exact amount. For example, if you look at emergency fund, 46 plus 55 is not 100, it's 101. Remember, this is what we're talking about with rounding up and rounding down. When it's something you need to put into your account, always round up to the nearest dollar because it'll save you a few pennies every time you do that. Now these next four, you'll notice I have these a different color. The light blue goes to savings, as you'll see in the key, and the white just stays in checking. You'll have to track these. I do this in a paper ledger just to keep an eye on it, and it's just something that I can physically lay my hands on and go back and look at everything. You don't have to do it that way, but again, find what works for you and do that. Gifts is going to be birthdays and anniversaries, things that happen on a regular basis that you want to save for. If it's just a card, then you know to put like $3 in it, because I'm going to go to Dollar Tree and get a card. Or if you want to buy a $10 card, put that in there so you know how much it is. But we'll make a chart of that later and I'll show you how to do that. The next envelope I have on there is household items. That is for things that you want to get for the house. As an example, if you buy topsoil and yard fertilizer and weed be gone or anything like that is part of your home maintenance, that's what you want to put on there. You can put your air filters for your air conditioning system, anything like that on it. But some of those, they can go here or they can go in groceries in life, and we'll talk about that in a second. Car maintenance is going to be a set amount. These are things that are going to be replaced on your car no matter what. For example, tires, brakes, shocks and struts, belts, filters, oil changes, the registration that's due every year. If you have to have an inspection in your state, this would go on here as well. And we're going to go over how to calculate that. And this was actually a pretty static number that won't adjust too much based on the car that you drive. The last envelope we're going to talk about is groceries in life. This is everything that it takes to run your house and keep people alive. Paper towels and toilet paper can go on here because that's part of something that you get at the grocery store, but home improvement projects would not go in here necessarily. But this is all of your food, eating out, everything. This is going to be a lot higher number than you really want it to be unless you are really just eating peanut butter and jelly and ramen noodles. The best way to do this is to start with a number that you think it is and then go from there. And as you go month to month, you'll be able to adjust this spreadsheet and see what works and what doesn't. If you need a bigger number, you can raise that number up and see if you need to make adjustments anywhere else in the spreadsheet. And here's the numbers I came up with for James and Mary, just as a first shot across the bow for what their budget is going to look like. And now we're just going to fill this in with the percentages off their respective columns. Now I've got their numbers figured out in their columns, and now the only last thing we want to do for this is calculate how much they need to put into savings and checking every month and do some totaling so we can see what the total damage is here. So as you can see, I've added the totals down at the bottom of this spreadsheet. And if you look at these, if you remember how to do these, is you do sum, or to make it as a formula, equals sum, open parentheses, and then drag and drop right here. This tells you just drag and drop down into here, and then it put close parentheses at the end. So if you highlight everything that you want to be added together, that'll give you your totals. Now the next thing we want to do is get a total amount of what are they paying for their bills. So to do this, what we're going to do is select their total from their bills right here and their totals from their envelopes right here, and then we're going to add them together. So to do that, we're going to create a formula that is equals the sum of, open parentheses, this, comma, this, close parentheses, enter. There's another way to do that I'll show you real quickly, is just equals, click this one, hit the plus sign, and that one, and then hit enter. That'll give you your total. So that's their total for their bills and envelopes. So we're going to do the same thing for this one. And again, an easy way to do this is just drag this little corner right here, drag it straight across, and it's going to add these up. So when I look at these, it's going to tell me which two it's adding. See the orange box here, purple box here, it's telling me it's adding those up. We're going to check Mary's as well. So she has purple box here, orange box here. Hers are added up correctly as well. The last thing we want to know is how much is being transferred into the savings account. So after we've all been paid over the course of the month, what we want to do is figure out how much from our joint checking account needs to be transferred into our joint savings account. In order to do that, we need to add up everything that we said was in the blue. So what we're going to do again is create this formula, equals sum, open parentheses, and then we're going to drag and drop, well, just drag over everything that's in the blue right here, and then stop when you get to this one. And then we're going to close parentheses and hit enter. So James and Mary are saving $315 in savings every month. Again, thanks for watching. I hope this has been useful for you, and continue to watch as we build out James and Mary's individual accounts, and follow along as we do more and more explanation of where I'm getting these crazy numbers. If you don't mind, appreciate all the comments, appreciate any likes that you have, and if you want to get the notification for the next video that comes out, hit that bell notification. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.